So being a developer and working with make.com is probably one of the most frustrating things that I've had to do in a really long time. I love make, but I also hate, and that's a strong word, I know, but it's like that's how I feel about it. It's like I hate some of the implementation details that they have around the tool, and especially around webhooks. What's supposed to be, in my opinion, a very simple, easy process in order to carry out some basic functionality. It's just a really complex thing. So in this video, I'm going to show you the best and easiest way that I found in order to take data from a webhook and pass it to another service that I know of. I'm also hoping that if anybody else out there is smarter than I am, which I know a million of you people are, that actually 8 billion to be exact, that if you have some ideas on how to solve this problem, please put it in the chat. I am desperately looking for a solution to this problem. I have not been able to solve it, and every time I go online, I just keep seeing people with the same problem, and I thought I had it solved, but I do not. So let me just explain first what the problem is, and then I'll try to show you my solution that will work. It's just annoying and tedious and painful. Okay, so you have some kind of service that you're thinking. In my particular case, it's a phone service that I'm working with. I'm trying to set up a phone service that will notify my application internally whenever something happens. Call starts, call ended, whatever, right? But this could be a Google Sheets, right? This could be a meeting, an AI meeting, right? It doesn't really matter. They all will send their data via webhook to make.com. Okay. And then when they do that, internally, what you're trying to do is take that information and pass it to another, let's call it HTTP service, right? And you're just trying to take whatever was sent in, so it would send some data. You're just trying to take it and just send that data as is. You don't even want to touch it. You just want to send it to something else. You basically just routing information. That's what the problem is, and that's what I'm trying to solve, and I have not figured out a good solution how to do it. And I think the word that you're looking for is pass-through, right? Through, right? And if you look online, so I was looking online for some of the things like make.com JSON pass-through data, help with comment, can't find how to pass through information, pass through automatically. Like there's a lot of people that are asking for this, and it seems to be an ongoing problem. I've looked through the forums, and most people have suggested, oh, you just need to flick this switch. Also, turns out that I go into the application, I don't see the same option. See here, JSON pass through, IP restriction. I don't see this option, and I'll show you what I mean in a bit. So I'm not seeing the same thing. Some person suggests that, oh, you just need to just access the name of the function. I think that was chatgpt. Access the name of the module, and then you can basically just dot notation it. I'll show you what I mean by that as well too, and it'll work. It hasn't worked for me. So I've tried multiple things. Every one of these people are complaining and having the exact same problem, and it's annoying, frankly, that this isn't a thing. And first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how Microsoft does it, just for the sake of comparison. And then I'll show you why it's frustrating to me, because I've used other tools before, and it's such a straightforward process to do. So let's just do that right off the top. So I have, as an example, this is literally a payload that I've been working with. This is just a sample payload. It's all dummy data, so Google don't take down my information. Okay. So I have a payload here. This is Microsoft. This is the URL. I'm going to delete this API later on as well too, so don't steal my information. And if I put this here, I click submit, click send, okay, I got a 200 accepted. If I send a request, let me show you how easy it is to pass it through to something else. Okay, it actually doesn't matter what the thing is, but let's just say here is the request. Okay, let me show you how easy it is on Azure to get this done. This is why, you know, people complain about Azure, but it's like, I'm going to delete this because it doesn't really matter. Actually, here. So I want to pass this through to, let's just say, parse JSON. Okay. It doesn't matter which service. It could be any service. It works the same. I'm just using a parse JSON because it's easy. Okay. I click on content. I click on this arrow here, and I say, give me the entire body. That's it. we're done. We're done. You could go home, you can sleep. Okay? Like, it's that simple. And the entire JSON, whatever came from the previous API, will go to the next one, and you could keep passing that body all day long. I could keep adding another service here, and I could just keep adding JSON all day long to additional services. Doesn't matter which one of these events. I could pick any random thing, right? I don't know what this is about, right? Or we're gonna connect to an API and all that kind of stuff. Okay, won't do that, right? So the point is, you can do this all day long, no problem in Microsoft Azure. And this is not an Azure versus make.com. It's just with Logic App, this is just a significantly easier process. So that's why it's very, very frustrating for me when I try to do this on make.com. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, let's try it with make.com and I'll show you what I mean. So let me just start with this first. Let me discard, and I'm going to go to a new scenario. Let's just do that. Okay, so we could try the exact same thing. And again, if somebody knows how to do this, please, please, please message me and tell me how to get this done so that I could hopefully share it with other people and we can solve this problem. So I'm going to take this webhook, I'm going to create a webhook, and I'm going to say okay, and then what I'll do is I'm going to run this so I could determine the webhook. Oops, I didn't copy the stuff. I didn't copy the URL. Copy URL. Redetermine webhook. It's waiting for the webhook details. I'm going to go here. I'm going to replace this long Azure URL with this one here. Save. I'm going to send it. There. I have my webhook. Perfect. Fantastic. Okay. Now I would like to pass that on to another HTTP service. Okay. Here. And it doesn't really matter what that service is, but just for the sake of completion, I'm going to do one of my internal service. HTTP:// Okay, it doesn't matter what that service is. Okay, and now what I'd like to do is I'd like to take the raw data, the content type will be JSON, and then I would like to just pass the entire thing. Here's the problem. What make.com does is it gives me all of these protocols. Sorry, not protocols, but JSON results, and I can map it one by one, but I can't actually just say I want the whole thing to go from one to the other. That's the problem that I'm having. So what have I done to try and solve this problem? Well, the first thing I've tried is somebody said that if you figure out the name of this service, because apparently they have a name underneath the hood, you can basically access it. So in the forums, I forgot which one, but one of these forums, I don't remember which one it is. In the forums, the guy said you can do angle, they do it like this, and if you do the name of it, so in this particular case, every one of the modules has a name, so you can do one.value, and that should work. It doesn't. Okay. Another suggestion I saw was do one.data, and that should work. It doesn't. Okay. The question is, how do you know what's one and what's two? Well, I found this hidden tool. This is crazy. This is crazy. You could, if you do make.com make DevTools, you can find, I didn't even know this exists. You could find a dev tool, you could find a dev tool that you could install on Chrome that gives you additional stuff, which is mind-blowing. But as a developer, it's actually kind of handy. However, I haven't been able to figure out how it works either. So if you do F12 now, because I've already installed that tool, and I got a bunch of errors here in this there, which I have no idea what is out, right? So I got all these random errors. Let me put myself up here. Okay. If I come to the make, so this is because I installed that extension. All right. I can now click on live stream, and I can see if I do run once here. Oops. If I do run once, oops, it's looking for some content. So let me just put any single thing in there, okay? Just for the sake of satisfying it. And then let me just run this once. And then here, if I come back to this and I click on send, I can see that API call coming in, which is cool, right? And here's trying to send that data over to thing. And if I had more, you would actually see it. So you'd be able to debug and kind of see the different events and try to see what's going on. Then they have, so that was the epiphany that I have. It's like, okay, that's kind of interesting, but it doesn't help me in any single way. So I have no way of getting, like I said, that data across. So the only thing that I found to help with that process is you could come in, you could add a module. You have to add a JSON module, a create JSON module. The data structure has to be the one from dialpad, from the previous one. So I'm kind of skipping over a step here. Maybe I should show you how to create a data structure. So to create a data structure, you could determine the data structure. So you could say add data structure. Let's call this test. Right? Click on save. And then what you can do is you can show advance. Where is it? Oh, my lord. Look at the pass-through. There's a pass-through feature here. What is going on? Okay, I just saw this. So I don't know why that wasn't showing up for me before. But let's just continue, because this is interesting. So if enable, payloads are returned as string. Save. So that shows up there. So now how do we, let me just take this out, delete this, because I'll show you what the real problem is. This is, if this works, great, but I'll also show you what the other problem is. So see here, it's not clear to me how to get that pass-through data. It's just not clear. Right? I just don't know how to get it. And that's been my problem. And so, like I said, somebody suggested that you could just put a one dot data. But how do you know what one is? Like, how do you know what one is, right? Like, that's kind of the problem. So if you go back to this make.com tool here and you go here, you got this tool section, and this gives all these remapping tools and do all kinds of stuff. None of it has worked for me, by the way. But if I do custom webhook and then I do target, see those numbers there? Those numbers are the name of the module. So that's how I know to put a 1 there. Like if I was trying to do something else at the back here and I needed to access the 1, I could do a 2 because I know that that one is 2, right? But that's the only way I've been able to figure out the names of the modules. So where does that leave us? I need to get you a solution to your problem, right? So right click, add module, JSON, create JSON. The data structure that you're going to create, you can add it. You can do, this is a new data structure. Tests, okay? You can click on generate, and then you can get the data structure from the previous, from here. And then you can do download, which will give you output. And then you could copy that output. And then that data structure, you could come back here. Sorry, it says here. It didn't add it here, right? Generate, paste that in here. Then you could do that, and now you have a data structure that you could work with. Okay, so this. Okay, so now that it's done, this entire create new JSON, now you can basically map each individual field. No, sorry, this is fine. So here, you can map each individual fields. So master caller ID, date ended, right, duration, where is duration? Here, right? And if you map those entire fields, now you can, on this side here, you can basically take the entire JSON string, and that is your pass-through object. Okay, so this is, like I said, this is the only way I've been able to figure this out, which is take a webhook, create a new JSON, manually map all the fields back to the exact same thing, and then come to the webhook, and then you can be able to do the requests JSON string, and that will be a pass-through object for sure. So that will address some of the questions that these people are having. However, like I said, this is new to me because I didn't see this before, which is here, right? People were suggesting you could go here and you could do this, and then you can make this a pass-through with enable JSON, pass-through a string. I still don't know how to access this as a pass-through object. And maybe, So why don't we try it now? I'm going to delete this. Okay, and here I'm going to try to access it like this, one.value. See if that works. Okay, and then let's just make sure that it's actually going to go to something. Oh, I closed the Azure thing. Okay, that's fine. API doesn't matter. Okay, and then let's try to. Oh, why is it complaining? Yeah, complaining because this is not working. Oh, service is not reachable, so it's probably service is not reachable. So you know what I can do? I'll just let me see if there's another. Yeah. Okay, I have to hide all this stuff, but yeah, let's see if we could just do it that way. Okay. So if I run once and I go to here and I go back to here and I try to do send, stop. Let me just stop that, make sure I got the right URL, copy address to the clipboard. Okay, different URL, save, send, here, there. Okay, so this is failing because 404 not found, right? But that's a different error. That's because I just messed it up. I'm just being lazy right now. However, request content compress, get through headers. So you know what? Let's just do. Give me 1 second here. I just want to make sure that this is working for you. So I'm going to just double check that if you try to send it, that it actually will. That it's not. It will go. Well, it will go through. I don't know if it will go through. Let me just get the correct URL. Copy here. So I'm going to paste this here. Okay, and then we'll just do a post. This is a real URL. That's why I'm doing this. And then let's run this again. And then let's send this over here. Okay, so there. Okay, so it actually did go through this time. And like I said, all this is going to be deleted, but what I want to make sure is to see what it actually sent over the wire. Alright, so here, receive, show raw output, there. So I think I've answered the question. Now I have to figure out how to do it. Okay, so if you're doing a webhook, I understand. If you're doing a webhook, which I just discovered by the way, if you, based on that data structure, if you click on edit, if you click on advanced and you come down to, no, not here, you have to click on advanced for this, for the data structure, show advanced. There's a JSON pass-through for the data structure. So that's one, okay? So that's how you could figure out the JSON pass-through. And then on this side, now I could just do one.value and that will work, which is interesting. Okay, so the question now is, will this work for save changes? Will this work for my actual real thing, which is I was trying to get some data from a webhook, a JSON web, not a webhook, but a event being triggered from Dialpad, which is a phone service that I use, and I'm trying to get that. So see here, I can't do that, so I don't know how to. I can't. The exact same thing that I just did just now, I can't do here. I can't edit this. There's no way to edit it. Okay, so the only option that I have, and I'm going to try this live with you because that previous one worked, right, is I should be able to do one.value. click it, save, and then I have to make a call to trigger this. Sorry, excuse me. Let's get in the background if you can hear it. So dial pad. No. So I have to trigger a call in order for it to work. Okay, so I'm making a call now. Let's dial in. Okay, and that should trigger. Very perfect. Okay, good. So it did trigger it. Invalid JSON payload, right? So somehow I'm unable to get the payload using events, and that's the problem. That's the problem, right? Now I think, based on what I just learned just a while ago, just pause this for a second. Okay, so I might have to edit this video a little bit because I kind of forgot where I was because I got distracted for a bit there. But the point is that when you would dial pad, there's no option to edit. There's no option to edit here, so you can't set that pass-through JSON option that exists. That's the problem, and it's under dial pad. It's other services as well too, right? So I just don't have any way of doing that pass-through option. So as a result, I got a webhook that's kind of a webhook, but it's not really a webhook because it's kind of an event that doesn't have a pass-through option. So on this side here, I have no way of getting access to this .json.value. That's why this is failing. So the only way that I've been able to solve it, like I mentioned before, is you have to add a module in between, and it has to be a JSON create that will take basically the structure of the JSON, and then you have to manually map it. Right, sir. Sorry, that's my kid just walked through the door there. You have to manually map it, and then only once you've manually mapped it, then over on this side here, you can come down, and instead of doing this, you can access that JSON string, and that's your pass-through object to get your thing. So anyway, hopefully you've gotten some value out of this. This is really, really frustrating for me because as a developer and trying to use some of these no-code, low-code type tools, it's just really, really hard for you to be able to kind of do some of the more advanced stuff. And if somebody else knows a better way to do this, please let me know. But I find this very frustrating, and hopefully you've gotten some value from this. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel if it's something that you're interested in, this type of stuff and troubleshooting and learning how to improve some of these processes with no-code, low-code tools. Thanks.